Hi, welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. This is Mike Delisio. Why sell for a video with just one game? You can have a video with 5. Welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Today we're going to talk about 5 new games from Asia. Card games from Asia. On to the show! From the Japanese publisher that brought you the classic Nana came cat poker, dog poker, and now mole poker. In mole poker, you're going to arrange the 36 cards into 6 stacks of A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now, cards are only broken down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see the breakdown of each stack. Now, you don't have to splay the cards. I just prefer to do that because it's easier to count, and I find that to be, well, a little bit more fun. On your turn, you're going to take one card from any of these piles. So maybe I'm going to go for 4s. Maybe I'm going to go with here. And I'll take this, put it in front of me, face down, and then everyone's going to draft a card, and then it'll come to me again, and then maybe I want to go with another 4. I'll take this and flip it face up. And then everyone's going to draft a card, and then again, I'll take this card, put it face up, and then it'll come back to me, and I'll come back to me. Maybe I'll do this third one face up. It's like, wow, that's pretty lucky. And then the last card I'm going to take, and then I'm going to turn it face down. And then once everyone has drafted 5 cards, we're going to reveal their cards. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have 4 of a kind. You'll consult your Lucky Ducky sheet here, and this will tell you the rank. Whoever has the highest ranked poker hand is going to win. This will show you the breakdown of each of the cards. So there are 10 ones and there are 5 fives. And then these are the rankings. If you can't read Japanese, don't worry. That's a pair, 2 pair, a 3 of a kind, a full house, a 4 of a kind, a straight. Now, because of the nature of the game, you don't have to draw the straight in ascending or descending order. It could be like 5, 2, 4, 3, 1, and then it's still considered a straight. And then last but not least is a 5 of a kind. And then whoever had the highest poker hand gains 1 point. They'll flip this over. There you go. That's a point. Now, you could just play one quick hand, and whoever did that wins the game. Or you could do the first person to get 2 points. There are lots of different ways that you could do this. Most importantly, though, if there is a tie, then you go down by X's. Whoever had the highest X. So 3 of kinds of 7s beats 3 of a kind of 5s. If the X's are tied for whatever reason, then you go by the highest Y, whatever the Y is the highest. In terms of straights, it'll be the last card drawn. Like I said, this doesn't have to be in order. So if you drew 3, 4, 1, 5, you would beat my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is mole poker. People are going to ask me, do you like mole poker? Do you like dog poker? And do you cat poker? And it's so hard because they're all 3 of them are very light games, very, very light games. If I had to choose, I think my preference is dog, cat, mole. And that's not to say that mole poker is a bad thing. I think mole is just a very, very chill game. It's just drafting. That's all that it is. I think it's kind of meh at the 2-player count, but once you get to like the 4-player count and you can see all the cards that people are doing, and you're counting the odds with each stack, it is quite fun, and it's just very, very simple and approachable. And there is that little excitement that you get when you reach for that particular pile and you pull out that card and you reveal it, and maybe it's a card you want, it maybe it's a card it's not. In fact, the 5th round is always quite funny because you get to see the sour look on everyone's faces of like, oh, so they picked the wrong card. And then they actually flip it over, and then you score what you score. There isn't much wiggle room there, but it is extremely approachable. And I can't say that it's a bad game because I played bad games, and this is not a bad game. It's just there isn't much wiggle room and space out there for you. Will I play this again in the future? Yeah, absolutely. I think in a game evening, I might have it here and we just play a nice quick hand of it, like quick hand or 2, and then it's easy and breezy. Maybe we're just killing time before another bigger game or another game comes up, or comes on rotation, or we're waiting for another table to finish playing their game. Filler. I think that's what they call them, filler games. If I had to rank this on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go with a 7. I think It's not a game that I would recommend, which would be an 8. And it's not a game that's like, no, let's play something else, which would be a 6. The 7 is something that if you say, Jay, let's play mole poker, I'm going to be like, it's mole poker, but let's call it mole poker, and we're going to play it. No hesitation, let's just get it done. Mole poker, 7 out of 10. Banana Boy versus Unicorn. Now there are 2 ways to play Banana Boy versus Unicorn, and that is use 16 cards or 32 cards. That takes about 8 minutes, that takes about 15 minutes. And you're gonna play until there are about 6 cards, exactly 6 cards left on the table, and then in which case the player with the most cards becomes a winner. And yes, ties are friendly, and if you lose, you have to cry as per the instructions. Now these cards will be spread out a little bit more, but for the sake of cool camera looking, videography, I'm just crammed the screen here. You're going to take 2 cards and you're going to say what they are. Hot dog octopus, and you're going to flip them over. And hey, look at me. If they are the exact same thing, well then you're going to take both these cards and score them, and they're 2 points at the end of the game. If you take 2 things and say, oh, skater boy, flip it over, and then, oh no, they are not the same thing, but they are the same color, well then you get to keep one of them. I'm going to keep the mushroom. And naturally, if you say, oh, toilet paper rocket, and you flip it over, and well, they are not the same object, and they don't have the same background, well then you just keep them here, you don't re-flip them over. Now, at any point in the game, any player can put their finger on a card. In fact, you have multiple players sticking their fingers on all these cards, doing things. And if that's the case, when it is your turn, and you wanted to grab a card, well, you can't take this card because that player is being a meanie head and blocking you from taking this card. Now, you may have 10 fingers, but you can only reserve 1 card. There you go. So 1 reservation per player. Sorry. And if you forget how to play, the rule book does, well, I mean, it's not really a rule book, a rule sheet comes with this cute little comic here. Say, oh, you pick 2, you say what it is, you flip it over. Oh, they're the same, you get to keep both. They're the same background, you get to keep 1, but you can remember what it is. And then you have to try to remember, and then you flip it over, they're not the same. Oh, you don't get any points, but someone can put their finger on something, and you are sad. Sweating, nervous. That's nervous. But I do want to take a little moment here to show how bright and vibrant all the cards are. They do look really nice. I really like this new artwork style that X First Games is going for. And this game can range anywhere from the disturbing boy dog to the ultra cool Octosub, which is easily the coolest thing in the game. Yeah, by far. And that is Banana Boy versus Unicorn. Now, in the title of this video, I called it Banana Boy because if you add versus Unicorn, I exceed the 200 character limit that I need for a YouTube title. So, apologies. Now, Banana Boy comes from X First Games, which is run by an expat living in Japan, Charles. Charles is a designer and publisher, and he's done quite a few games before, but I will say that Banana Boy and the yet-to-be-reviewed Sky Tower in this video, I like them much better than his previous offerings. Like, not just a little bit, like a lot better. Now, he did like Rokumon, which is kind of like this abstract game in Sengoku period, and it really wasn't for me. Like, it was a nice, cool campaign, and that concept was interesting of like layering upon layering upon layering, but then the final game itself, I just didn't really resonate with me. Haze Island of his, which I did like, was just airships and pirates going on wacky adventures. He also did this, which is a coin for like a D20, a D6, D8. You just spin it and stop it, and whatever you point at, that's what you rolled. This is really cool. I actually keep this with me wherever I go. But this one here is an exceptional party game. Now, this is not something that I'm going to be dragging people to play all the time. This would be like a nice filler game, a nice end of the night game where you're kind of like on wit's edge and like just kind of loopy at that point, or like a nice icebreaker to begin game night. This isn't something that I think is going to be like the main course of an evening, I think. But what is there is fun, and it's really interesting because I used to think like, well, I tried the game where you just flip over the cards. And then it's just like, okay, well, we flip over the cards and then we don't even say anything. You see, does actually saying something really change the game? And it does, like tremendously. And I think the coolest part is that you put your finger on something and you can reserve a card. And I've never seen that in this style of like memory party game style before. And it was really interesting because you put your finger on there And then you're trying to tell yourself what it is on the opposite side, like banana, 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 banana. But everyone is speaking stuff. People are laughing. People are saying stuff like, that's weird, and they're talking throughout the game. And when it finally comes back to your turn, you might have forgotten. And you don't think that that could be possible, but you just might. And even if you remember what banana is, you may not remember that it's like a blue background or a green background or a yellow background. And you're trying to remember those little things. And then that little twist, I think, is what makes the game really, really pop. That and the artwork. The artwork is just really bright, really colorful. I love that the objects that you're calling it are taking up the vast real estate, most of the real estate of the card, which is exactly what it should be done. But I think X First is a really good step in the right direction for this publisher, and I'm really curious and excited to see what they come up with next. Now, if I had to rate this game, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Now, that's not a bad game. That's a good game as far as I'm concerned. 8 is a game that I would actively suggest and say, like, hey, I want to play this, let's play this. 6 is something that someone would recommend to me, like, hey, why don't we play this? And I'll teeter-totter, like, no, let's play something else instead. How about that? 7 is a game where if someone suggested it to me to play, I would absolutely say yes with zero hesitation. But it's not a game that I would actively pull off of the shelf. And that's where it falls for me as a nice little 7 here. This being a 7, I think this is exactly where I would place this game. The strengths of this game is that 1, it's very approachable. 2, it's bright, it's colorful. 3, it gets people talking. It forces people to talk at the table. And 4, it just, I don't know, it's fun. It's lighthearted, very silly fun, and I would recommend you checking it out. Furmation of Rome. Meow! Now, Furmation of Rome is a 2, 3, or 4-player game, and this will show you the breakdown of the deck. And you can see that in the 3-player game, the monuments enter play, and in the 4-player game, the brigands enter the play. And we'll go into that in just a little bit. The main thing you're going to be fighting for are these tokens. At the end of the game, if you control one of these tokens, you get a point. This represents 5 points. Any monument that you complete will be also worth a point. And if you happen to control the brigands, well, then that's a -1 point. And the player with the highest points wins Furmation of Rome. Now let's go ahead and meet the citizens of Rome. You have the purple, which are consuls. They are ranked 1. This is the clergy is blue, they're ranked 2. The legionary is ranked 3. This symbol here means that this particular card only enters in a 3 or 4-player game, not in the 2-player game. The philosopher, and he is ranked number 4. The farmer, she is ranked 5. This particular farmer only comes into play in a 4-player game. And the brigand, who just likes to burn everything to the ground, is ranked 6. This is a monument or a monument. So if you have these cards out in front of you, then you get to build this monument and earn yourself a victory point at the end of the game. Now, each consul has a different text here, such as each clergy and legionary and philosopher and farmer and brigand, but they all tend to do the same thing. Farmers don't tend not to do anything. Philosophers tend to take cards and then flip them over and allow you to then use this card to say, hey, that's a philosopher, that's a clergy or legionary or farmer. There are lots of them that do lots of things altogether. Consuls tend to do that too with lots of flipping. Clergy lets you like look through the deck and give you a little bit more foresight. Legionaries tend to, well, discard monuments from other players, a little bit more take that in your face of opponents. Now you may be wondering, why are all the citizens numbered? Is that a hierarchy? Yes, it is. It is Rome after all. If there is a tie for whatever reason, whoever controls the consul will win first place. Or between the 2 tied players, whoever has the highest ranked citizen control token will win the game. So yes, in ancient Rome, not everyone is created equal. Now here we are set up with the game. You can take 1 card and burn it, remove it from the deck. And then now here is your discard pile, your draw deck, and then you'll have 3 cards here in what's called the trail. Every player is going to have 3 cards, and make sure you put the tokens here off to the side. Now the first thing you're going to do on your turn is you're going to decide if you're going to settle or play. If I play a card, well then I will activate its ability and then immediately discard it. Or if I want to settle a card, I will just simply take this card and put it face up in front of me. I will not activate it at all. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's say I don't want to do the monument. I'm going to put this legionary down here, not activating its ability. Then afterwards, I'm going to see, hey, do I have more of any of these cards than anyone else? Well, I'm beginning the game. I have more red cards than anyone else, so then I take this token. If I happen to have the same number of cards as another player, I don't get to take this token. I only do it if I have the most. And then now I have 2 cards. I need to draw up to 1. I did have a monument in my hand, so I definitely want to build that. And this Legionnaire lets me get closer to building it. But then if I look closely here, well, then this philosopher can take a monument from another player. So I'm going to draft this card to make sure that no one takes that from me. And then now this other card here will slide over, and then it's the next player's turn. And this more or less is the game. You can, of course, settle a monument before you can score it. And brigands will never be played or settled in front of you. You're going to settle this in your opponent's area. Because brigands are bad, and if you have the most brigands, well, then you get this token. This token, again, is a negative point. Play will continue like this until the draw deck is empty and the trail is empty, and then every player will take all the cards that are remaining in their hand and then immediately settle them and add them to their tableau. Players will then calculate their score. Each token is a point, each completed monument is a point, and the brigand is a negative point. And remember, if there is a tie, you just follow this card here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoever controls the highest one out of the tied players wins the Furmation of Rome. Furmation of Rome. This comes from Taiwan, from a publisher that I had never heard of, N-Pips Games. Now, I didn't think I was going to like this game. I'm going to be honest. It's like, I looked at the cards. Oh, it's take that. I saw pictures of it online. I go, oh, it looks like a nice little like Glory to Rome type of game. It's very chill, and it is not that at all. It is not that at all. It just has cats in Rome. That's fine. But I really like this game. I was afraid, like when I started looking at those player cards, and the first thing was take like a monument from someone, and I was like, okay, let's take that. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it's really not that much take that in this game. Now, while a majority of the cards have those, when you're settling with them, just putting them down in front of you, you're not activating the ability. In fact, most of the time in my games, like you're not doing those abilities at all. You're just putting them down in front of you, trying to get momentum, trying to score points, trying to get those influence and tokens, and you're only really discarding the cards for the ability to do some of those shenanigans to kind of jump ahead or to stop someone from getting too far ahead and then allowing yourself some flexibility. Some of the cool things in here that I haven't seen in other games was the ability to turn your cards like face over and then change what suit it is. I thought that was really clever, and I really enjoyed it. The monuments give a good amount of agency. Like, oh, okay, I have this. I can get these kind of cards, and maybe I can get this monument and score this monument. I really, really like that. And because of that, I would never play this at 2. It wasn't fun. 3 players, 4 players, you get the brigands, and the brigands are fun because you're just giving them to other players, and it creates this thing to do. Like, you can't really discard it for the power because they have no power. You just put it in front of someone else. The farmers are the same way. You just put them in front of you, but then at the same time, you don't want to waste those actions. You want to play another card because those farmers can just flop at the end of the game. Now, with 4 players, you have the brigands, so there is that negative aspect, but at the same time, the deck is just a little bit thinner. And I don't know if I like that as much. I think the sweet spot for me is 3, and I'll go with 4 as well. But I kind of wish the deck was just a little thicker, because before you know it, the game is over. It's only like 10 or 20 minutes. But I gotta say that 10 to 20 minutes is fun. Like, I'm playing this quick little influence game. Yeah, I'm doing that. Oh, I get the token. I get to score points. And then maybe I can score this monument. And then I need to score another monument that's in my hand. So I'm going to use the ability of some cards and throw them into the discard pile. I'm not adding them to my influence game that I'm doing. So that way I can score this monument and score more points. And it's surprised me that there are far fewer shenanigans than I would have thought. Now, keep in mind that I did not play this game with a Bubba. You know, and by a Bubba, I mean someone who's just gonna go off the rails and just do something completely crazy and try to break the game by playing it in the way that it's not supposed to be played. And you could play with a Bubba who just like discards all their cards and just does chaos at the table and just mixes it all up. You could do that. Does that destroy the mood of the game? Maybe, kind of. But for a light game like this, yeah, I really enjoy this. It really surprised me, and I'm kind of curious to see if NPEPS does more. Hopefully, it does more out of the take that realm. But I really enjoyed this game. If I had to rank it, I might rank it an 8. I will rank it an 8. I think it's an 8. 8 out of 10. Now, if you want to know more of my rankings, please go to BGG. My username is Evil Panda. Click on my collection, and then I only rank board games from Asia. So if you're ever curious about what games I think are fun, I keep it there. Now, I do not track like how many games, how many times I've played a game, if I've won, what was my score. I don't track any of that because I just don't find that as interesting or as useful for all of you. I think what's useful for you is if I play a game, I might change my ranking of it depending on how I felt about that game. And then that gives you a better idea of what games I'm looking at. And if like, Jay, what games do you like? I'm like, go to BGG, look at my username, and there you go. On to the next game, Kiri-ai, the Duel. Yeah! Let's just show off Kiri-ai, the Duel's case here because it is quite gorgeous. Very simple. Two samurai face each other on the cliff's edge. Cloudy skies darken the night. The moon breaks as they strike. This is Kiri-ai, the Duel. No, but this is a really nice bag. And the card quality is really nice. This nice quality cards, great looking art. I just got to give it props before I go into the teach. Kiri-ai is a game about a samurai duel, and it's a 2-player game. You see one player is blue, one player is red. Now, once they're hit, they'll flip over to the strike side, and once they have been hit again, well then this player is dead, and then this player wins. So don't get hit. Now, in addition to the 2 hit points, there are also 2 signs. This character here means heaven, so this is the heaven stance. This character here means earth, and this is the earth stance. If this is too difficult for you to read, well then try harder. And also keep a note that the heaven stance sword is up, earth stance sword is down. You can begin the game on the heaven stance, and then the red player is going to begin here, and the blue player is going to begin exactly here. Each player is going to take 6 cards into their hand, and this is more or less the same. Now, the first thing you're going to do is going to place 1 card face down, and then you're going to play another card face down. This will be the first card you play, and this will be the second card you play. Your opponent is also going to play 2 cards here, and they're going to match you. This is the first card played, and this is the second card played. These cards will be revealed and then resolved, and then these cards will be revealed and then resolved. But first, let's look at all the cards. Now, both players are going to get the same 5 cards, and they're all pretty much the same thing. This will switch from heaven to earth or from earth to heaven stance. This one here allows you to move forward twice. This one here allows you to move forward once, and then if you flip it over, that lets you move back once. Move forward 2, move up 1, move back 1. Then there's also striking and attacking. If this is heaven stance, and you play this card, well then if their opponent is 2 away, you get to strike them and you hit them. Conversely, this is the earth stance. If they are 1 away and you play this card, well then you will hit them if you're in the earth stance. This card is used whether you're in the heaven or earth stance, and if they are in the same position you are, hey, guess what? You strike them. Now both the red and blue player will have access to both these cards, and the only difference in the game are these orange cards. Now, there are 3 of these. You're going to take these, turn them face down, shuffle them up, give the red player 1, give the blue player the other, and then the third card will be removed from the game. But let's take a look at them. This is 1 strike. This is a special attack. This is the heaven. If you play this card, you'll switch to the earth stance, and then you hit them if they are the same position or 1 away. Conversely, this will hit the person if you are in the earth stance and they are 2 or 3 away. And this is the counter strike. If they played any attack card and you played this, be it in heaven or earth, you will hit them. However, if they play a move card, well then you just counterattack nothing, and you hit nothing. Now going back to our earlier example, these are the first cards played, these are the second cards played, and then these cards will now be revealed. Be careful how you flip them, be it this way or this way. And then now you can see that blue did a movement, and then red did a switch. If they're both movement, then heaven will go first, and then earth. Let's see here, he moves 2 up, 1, 2, and then red will switch from heaven to the earth stance. Ta-da! And then now we reveal the second card. Blue strikes, red is 2 away, so red gets hit. This will be flipped over to the earth side. And then red played a strike card. As you can see here, oh, they are in the earth stance, which they are, and blue is 2 or 3 away, which they are, and then blue gets hit. Now, this is not the end of the game. This first card played will return to their hand, and then these 2 cards played, well, this will stand out of the game. This will stand out for the next round, so blue cannot use this in the next round. Maybe you could put it over here to show that. This orange card, once you used it, it is removed from the game. So while this was used, this will not stay here out of the round. This will just be removed out of the game. And there we go. Then after the next round is played, this will go back into their hand, and then the second card played will then remove out. And that'll cycle and cycle until one player is struck at least one more time. Kiri-ai, the duel. Now, gotta mention that Mole Poker, Banana Boy, and Kiri-ai all have fantastic artwork and like card quality. Like, this is just a deck of cards, but these cards are nice quality cards, nice linen finish, and the artwork is spectacular. Saibepu does a great job. Banana Boy, the colors are bright and vibrant. The card stock is fantastic. Like, this is a well-produced game. And it's just in a little tuck box. But the production level of Kiri-ai is just off the charts. You get this cloth bag. Like, look at it. It's just really, really nice. Fits in a backpack, goes anywhere, and the quality of these cards is really something to behold. And for this micro game of 15 cards, what it gives you is just way beyond what you would expect. Now, this all resides on whether or not you like games about getting into the mind space of your opponent. If you like those games, this is a great game for you, especially for what it does with just 15 cards. If you're not into that, then you're all about, I just want to do my own thing, figure out the strategy of my own thing, and doing my own thing, just don't bother me. This might not be for you. But for what's here and the artwork, I really, really like it. Now, I've seen some people have comments about that. It's just, paper, rock, scissors. I just do one thing. Maybe I hit you, maybe I don't. Maybe it's all random. But I'm going to say that the difference is that you're playing 2 cards and not 1. And there's this rhythm that your opponent has. And you can see it's like, oh, they move and strike, move and strike. So the third round, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, they're going to move and strike. And once you get past that first round, and it's the second round, one card is out of their hand, and maybe you know what their specials are. There's only 3 specials, you have one of them, and you know it's going to be one of the other 2. And then you can just kind of have an idea. It's like, okay, well, they're either going to go for heaven, or they have the counter strike. So maybe if they're keeping themselves in the heaven position, then you know that maybe they have that heaven card. And these are things that go in your head and that you're trying to deduce. And you can see that pattern of people. I have found that a lot of players don't, change it up. Like if they move, strike, probably they're not going to attack. They're going to, and very rarely do they attack and move. And there's another thing where you begin memorizing the cards. It's just, move 1, move 2, go back 1. Attack 1, attack 2, attack at 0. So there's this idea of what cards they have, how far can they hit me, where do they move, and how can I strike? And it works really well with that double card cadence. And it's something that's really, really clever. If I had to give a negative, I guess I would kind of wish that there were more orange cards. Now, I don't want there to be a lot of orange cards. I mean, maybe like 10 orange cards, and then every time you play, you only take those 3 orange cards, and those are the 3 you're playing with. But I would like to have maybe a little bit more variety of that. In fact, that could be an expansion of just, you know, like 7 or 8 more orange cards and you stick them in here, there's certainly enough room. This cover itself is really, really great. Now, this comes from the Japanese publisher Titan Heads. I mean, it was brought over by Mugen Games, and they have a great line of games. You should definitely check them out. But Titan Heads also did Unreliable Wizard, which is one of my favorite solo games of all time. It has that same kind of like retro, like art look, like that very, very stripped down look of art, but very, very clean. And I know some people just didn't like Unreliable Wizard for whatever reason, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And the expansion just made it even better. In fact, like Salt and Pepper Games, when they licensed it and did their, I think it was GameFound, it's still I think it's the highest crowdfunder that they have had, period. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's their highest one, the one that ranked in the most money. And it shows that there's this audience for these micro games. And I think it works extremely, extremely well. This is a game about getting into your headspace, and I don't know, I love that. Netrunner is one of my favorite games, and it's one of my favorite games because you're constantly getting into the mind of your opponent and trying to read their mind. And this one does that with just 15 cards. And it's going to stay in my collection for quite a while. If I had to give a ranking for this, I would probably give this 8 out of 10. No, 9 out of 10. I think it's just because it's so small and I can put it in here. I'm going to push it to a 9 out of 10. What's up, Mike? You ready for the next game? You are? Me too. Sky Towers, the only card game about towers in the sky. Now, before we get into Sky Towers, I do want to give a shout out to the artwork. The artwork is fantastic in this game. As you'll see, you'll be making towers with your cards, such as this. And in the 4 has a Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's kind of cute that you lean around. And these are all famous buildings from throughout the world. And one cool thing is that the game is actually won by whoever has the most yellow kites showing. So you can see that different cards have different number of yellow kites, and the purple or pink flag here is the tiebreaker. So whoever has the most kites wins. Tied, then you go to pink flags. Now, here's the game completely all set up. Now, there are bonus cards here. We're going to talk about these much later. This is the draw deck, and we'll talk about this in just a little bit. And these are the effect cards, and we're going to talk about these in a very long while. Now, every player is going to get this little card here. On your turn, take 2 actions: build, draw, or demolish. Now, there is another side to this here. Build, draw, and flip this card over when you complete a tower. Now, we're going to talk about this in just a little bit, but everyone's going to start here on the demolish side. You're going to place this here. Everyone will have 5 cards to begin with, and then you're ready to begin the game. Now, the first thing you could do is draw. So you can just simply take a card from top of the draw deck and then add it to your hand. Now, there is no hand limit, so you could have 20 million cards in your hand if you really, really want to. Next up, we have demolish. And demolish sounds exactly what it is. If you have an incomplete building, so this is 10, 7, and 3, this adds up to 20. An incomplete building, well, then you can simply demolish it. You just simply take these cards and then add them to your hand. Now, build action is probably the most important in the game. That's what you're going to be doing most of all. The simple rule is that you're going to take a card from your hand, add it to an existing tower, or start building a new tower. Now, there are a few restrictions here, and we're going to go over that right now. The most important one is that, well, your neighbors, let's say over here is Alvin, and this over here is Bob. Now, Alvin's rightmost tower has a 4 on the very top, and then Bob's leftmost tower here at the very top of it has a 7. And that means that 4 and 7 are my locks, and therefore I cannot build a 4 or a 7 anywhere in my tableau. So I can't even put the 7 here, I couldn't put the 7 here, and if I had a 4, I couldn't even begin a new tower with that 4. So these two both inhibit my play style. Now, the next rule is that if I do play a card, well, then I can't play so that a tower has more than 21, because I'm reaching 21. This over here is 22, and that is something that I cannot do. So I could do maybe this 3 here, because again, I'm not blocked by the 7, I'm not blocked by this 4, so I can't do a 3. That gives 20. I'm okay. Now I am allowed 2 actions per turn, so I can repeat these. I could do a double build, I could draw and build. So let's say I do a double build, I add this 1 here, and that completes this tower. In this case, I will take all of these, shrink it down, and then I'm supposed to put it underneath here. That's completely up to you. Sometimes I'll just put this off to the side, but either way, it's removed from the game, so to speak. But don't give them away, because these deal with scoring. Now, if I had demolished the building, then it would flip over here. And then once I completed a tower, which I just did, then my card will flip over again, allowing me to demolish once again. The other thing I do want to mention is that while there isn't any text on any of these cards, when you build with a card, you activate the effect of the building. Now, each of these buildings do have a different rule to them, and that's where these effect cards do come in place. These cards are here set to remind you what all these cards do. So 10, for example, 10 can never be placed on anything. 10 must be at the bottom. Now they do a subtle way of telling you that by having this ground here, and that's the only card that does that. So there is a subtle way that it kind of reminds you of that, but that is just the 10, the 8 and 9s. Oh, sorry, there's Japanese on one side and English on the other. There we go. Now there are cards that all do different things. So this might give you an additional action here. The 1 can only be on top of another 1, so you can't put something else on top of it. The 5, for example, players with more than 5 cards, so people who just demolished, will have to put their cards back onto the deck, and they all have a variety of abilities. Now, I did mention the bonus cards way back when, if you remember those. And if you complete a building in a certain way, well, then you get this bonus card. So over here, so if you build one with 3 7s, then hey, you win this bonus card. Now, just by winning this bonus card, hey, look, you get 5 victory points there. You don't necessarily mean that you get this at the end of the game, because you'll just place this card here in front of you, and if another player scores, well, a building with 3 7s, and then they take this card from you. So these are a little ephemeral. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen quite a bit. So here, if you begin with 3 buildings with 10s on the bottoms, then you get this bonus, and there are quite a few bonuses in the game. Once there is 1 card left at the bottom of the deck, and that card is drawn, well, then all players, including the player that drew this card, gets 1 more last turn. The only difference is that instead of 2 actions, they get 3 actions. And then it's simply a matter of adding up all your kites, and whoever has the most kites wins. Sky Towers, the only card game with towers in the sky. Sky Towers! Now, I don't know why I felt compelled to sing Sky Towers, but I just did. Deal with it. I have to say that the artwork for this is fantastic. Now, this is Exist Games. Now, these are both from the same publisher. And Charles, the designer and publisher, has done other games, and I've played them. He has one called Haze Islands, and it was a pretty solid solo game. And I probably wouldn't play with multiple players, but as solo, it was really good. Just pirates on an airship, wacky adventures, super fun. Then you had one Rokuman, which is I didn't really like. It was an abstract that kind of introduced mechanics in this scenario, like this campaign, this scenario adds this rule, and this rule, and finally you get the last scenario, and this is the game that is supposed to be played, and it just, I don't know, it didn't really resonate with me at all. But these two, I really enjoyed, and Sky Towers in particular, I was kind of taken back by. Like, this was a lot of fun. The whole idea of like building the towers, the artwork on the cards, fantastic. No matter if you like this game or not, the artwork on the cards just really, really took me by surprise. I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. I love how the scoring is tied into the artwork with the kites and like the purple flags. Fantastic. I would love for more games to do that. If I had to give a negative, it would be those bonus cards and the effects. And for the life of me, I just don't know why they didn't put the effects on the cards themselves. It would have been really easy. I don't see why. There was an icon on all the effect cards. You could have just taken that icon, put it onto the card, maybe in the top corner, like below the number, to kind of remind you what it does, and then come up with another card that had all the numbers and then little sentences that reminded you what they all do as a player aid. And you could have made that like a tarot-sized card. That, to me, would have been a better choice. I think that would have been a better choice, and the game, I think, wouldn't suffer less. But the fact that when you play this for the first time and you're not used to it, you're like, okay, I played this number. What does it do? Okay, it does this. I mean, you do kind of remember what the numbers do after a while, but why not just have it on the card and just save a whole bunch of heartache, in my opinion. That out of the way, if you develop that rhythm, you play it enough, and you kind of remember what it is, you will enjoy it. Now, the bonus cards, I also have to say, were kind of frustrating to remember, like, oh, what does each one do? There's so many of the bonus cards. I'm really grateful, though, that the cards themselves have a really good picture, so you kind of look at it and you know what it is. But you just have to get used to putting the cards upside down in front of you so that everyone else, can read it. And then you score a building, and then you look if there's a bonus card that scores it. And this is a game where I guess everyone kind of helps each other out. It was like, oh, hey, good job on that tower. There's a bonus for that. Here it is. Here's that bonus. So it's that kind of, unfortunately, ruins the smoothness of the game. Like, it's flowing, you're building, build, score, build, score, and then but remembering all the facts, remembering all the bonuses slows that rhythm down and makes it feel maybe a little bit clunky and not as smooth as a game like Sky Towers should be. Now, that being said, I think the bonuses are fantastic and you definitely need them. I just don't know if you need like 7 or 8 or 10 of them in every game. Why not just keep it at a smaller number so it's easier to keep track? That's just my humble opinion. Now, that being said, I think the game itself is really good. I love how it affects, the building that I put on my right or on my left affects the players on my right or left. And I really like that I can lock them into that. Oh, I saw them pull a 4. I'm going to build a 4 right here, making them impossible for them to use that 4. And I like that interaction. And also, the tower deck, the deck itself, is quite thick. So it gives you a good amount of time to kind of pivot, kind of play and mess with each other, but not too much. And it gives you, it feels like you felt like a good amount of game. Like, it's a good amount. A box does, 25 minutes? And that feels about right. It's like a 30-minute game. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Now, do I like it at 2? Probably not. Because usually at 2 players, I like to play games that are designed for 2 players. Because otherwise, when else are you going to play your 2-player games? But at 3 or 4, I really like this game. This is a really, really good game that really surprised me. And I would definitely recommend it. Now, if I had to rank it, I think for me right now, it is a 9. I do want to play it more. But I think that over time, it'll probably settle down into about an 8. And that is Sky Towers. I do strongly recommend this game. 5 new games, 5 rankings. Sky Towers gets an 8. Formation of Rome gets an 8. Mole Poker gets a 7. Banana Boy gets a 7. And Kiri-ai, the Duel, gets a 9. Da, 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 da. And this is how I rank these 5 games. Once again, my name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please consider joining our Patreon where you see extra content from yours truly. Once again, I put a link to a video over here somewhere that I think you'll enjoy. See you there.